April 17th, Triller, Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. You're going to witness something incredible, something we haven't seen either before or in a long time. Ben Askren, former Olympian, former NCAA champion, former mixed martial arts champion, Bellator and won, and former UFC fighter Ben Askren, facing off against a two-time boxing match winner, Jake Paul. YouTube star, YouTube's poster child, younger brother of Logan Paul. Some might remember Logan Paul. They might not know Jake Paul as much.
Well,
they definitely do.
He's had 3, one with headgear.
Oh, yeah, true. He's technically 3-0. But that was more of a smoker amateur fight. He's got 2 technically professional fights. Anyway, this card is jam-packed with no names. Anyway, actually, that's a lie.
Guy,
that's a lie. Frank Mir is fighting
Mir.
Steve Cunningham in the heavyweight division for boxing. That actually will be a fun fight to watch. Frank isn't necessarily known for his boxing skills, but
definitely not. He's known for his jiu-jitsu game. So
jiu-jitsu
he's
game. He's known for breaking people's arms and bones.
Oh, yeah.
But that being said, that'll be a fun fight. So basically, we have two. We have 2 guys that are from the UFC and MMA world who aren't known as. Frank was more of a better striker than Ben Askren ever was, for sure. I mean, Frank Mir beat Brock Lesnar. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah,
but
oh yeah.
These are the only 2 fights that I care about, but really I only care about the main one, Jake Paul versus Ben Askren. When this fight was first announced, I think a lot of people laughed at the idea that Ben Askren would be fighting against Jake Paul, especially after Jake Paul coming off a brutal knockout against former NBA star Nate Robinson. Absolutely plastered Nate. I mean, knocked the soul out of that man. Coming off a brutal knockout like that, everybody was high on the Jake Paul train. Everybody knowing how Ben Askren's... Basically, Ben Askren is pretty much remembered by a lot of non-Ben Askren fans for getting a knee to the face by Jorge Masvidal in the fastest knockout ever recorded in UFC history. Not the greatest memory, but he takes losing like a champion. This is going to be interesting. Ben Askren is coming off of a hip surgery, which the reason why he had to retire from MMA in the first place. He basically said, hey, now that I have a hip replacement, I'm not going to be a full-time fighter anymore. I just can't. But if there's an opportunity that comes along for me to maybe compete in another fight, I would love to take up the offer. Jake Paul was out here looking for some competition. He called out Conor McGregor in a series of very hilarious videos online. Conor McGregor didn't even pay him any time of day. They spit a couple insults back at each other. Nothing ever came of it. Then he was calling out Dylan Dennis. Dennis didn't really want any part of it either. So Ben Askren,
he's hurt.
Yeah. He did hurt his knee. He hasn't really specifically said what it was. I'm assuming it's MCL, ACL, PCL. He has not publicly said what it was, what the injury was, but he claims he was hurt.
Yeah. Sidebar: Gordon Ryan is going at him today. It's pretty funny.
Him and Gordon. Actually, I don't know if you saw, he was on Flagrant 2 with Andrew Schultz, talking about his injury, talking about
that's why.
Talking about Gordon talking about him. So a lot of things, a lot of words being thrown back and forth between Dennis and Gordon, but Ben Askren basically came out of the woodworks and said, hey, I'll beat up that jabroni, no problem. So he threw his name into the ring. Jake Paul got with Ben Askren's people. They set this up. This is, like I said, I think when people first saw this fight, they thought it was kind of a joke. Did you not?
When I saw this fight, I thought Ben Askren was dumb at first. Because, and then when he talks, he really makes you think about it. He's like, Jake Paul is a YouTuber. He's not a boxer. He's quick to tell you that. He
thinks he's a professional boxer,
which he is definitely. I think he is a boxer, but he's also not a boxer.
I was like, what is? And we're gonna get to this, but Jake Paul claims he's a boxer.
He's a boxer. He's a boxer.
Is there but there's a big difference.
He's been training it for probably, I think,
3 years.
3 years, pretty hardcore. He's got a whole team around him. He's got a legit boxing coach. I think he's, been in those boxing gyms. I think he sparred with a couple of UFC guys. I think he sparred Mike Perry. There's an interview out there.
He did spar with Mike Perry a little bit.
Yeah, there's an interview out there. I think Mike Perry says how that went. I didn't watch it. But I did watch Ben Askren on, Logan Paul's podcast, and I've watched Ben Askren. I haven't watched his vlogs leading up to this fight because I've always kind of just been intrigued by the matchup. Therefore, I'm going to watch it, regardless. I don't know what to think about this matchup, and that's what makes it seem so fun and so interesting to me is because Ben Askren is a terrible striker. He's been in there. He's a bad striker. He's been in there with guys like Douglas Lima and Robbie Lawler and all these killers of people, of men that will, take your head off.
Yeah.
But he's also got to deal with the threat of, maybe they'll try to take him down or maybe, there's just another
those guys had to deal with the threat of Ben taking them down. So
Yeah.
they couldn't even unleash the striking performances they wanted to, even though Lawler got quite a few good shots on him.
That's another thing. Yeah, Jake doesn't even have to worry about that.
Jake doesn't have to worry about any of that.
If you're Jake, you just got to worry about Ben Askren, tying you up. And it's going to be a sloppy, weird, but it's going to be an entertaining fight, I think. I mean, just once the energy that's going to be around this main event is going to be crazy. And all the, Triller puts on these things where they'll have like Justin Bieber.
Yeah, they'll have they'll have some like performances
Lots
going.
of performances.
They'll probably have like Snoop Dogg commentate or somebody commentate who's like a, non-fight commentator, make it funny.
Frank Mir, he'll get me like a little excited, and then
Yeah, Frank will get me excited.
Once that Jake Paul stuff, he made a complete, I think, idiot out of himself at the press conference. He just and Ben.
So that's what I want to talk.
God,
That's what I want to get
stupid.
to. That's what I want to get to is.
It was hilarious.
So if you guys have not been keeping up on these press conferences between Jake Paul and Ben Askren, they're fucking hilarious. I think they're hilarious. They're also pretty cringeworthy on the side of Jake Paul.
They're tough to watch.
Usually this is how it goes. Jake Paul has made his life on the internet kind of just being a jackass, insulting people, being funny, doing stupid stuff with his brother Logan, but he's usually pretty quick to come with the insults, and usually he's pretty good. But that being said, if anybody knows the history of Ben Askren is one of these people in the MMA world who doesn't take crap in the sense of he thinks about things and speaks about them very matter-of-factly.
It's hard to get under his skin.
It's almost impossible. I don't think I've ever seen anybody get under his skin. I think when I watch the fights, Ben plays the great psychology game because he doesn't put on a show. He's not like, oh yeah, when I get in that ring, I'm gonna. Mm-hmm. He doesn't put on this thing, or he does the thing where when guys like to get tough before the fight. Oh yeah, well meet me right here, beat me up right here, and Ben's like, we're literally getting paid to do what you're talking about in a day. Why would I beat you up now?
I like this. What he said. He doesn't attach his ego to the outcome.
Yeah,
of the
exactly.
Fight. And it's like win or lose. He is who he is, but that's why it's so hard. And then it's weird to watch Jake Paul try really
hard to talk shit.
Really
he's out there trying to spit like
really
trying to be Conor McGregor and like talk a bunch of shit. And Ben's just like, yeah, but you're Logan's little brother and you like aren't even a boxer. So if I wanted to, I could take you into a back alley and homicide you if I really wanted to in real life. But I'm not going to because we're going to get paid to box here in a little bit, and I'm gonna get broken off and have the biggest payday of my life. Ben Askren will have the biggest payday of his life come Saturday night. And that's insane to think about when you think about all the people he's faced all over the world that he's traveled, former Olympian, been to the Bellator, been to the One, was a champion in both, been to the UFC. The biggest payday he's going to get in his life is to fight a kid off YouTube.
Yeah, so good for Ben Askren,
Good for Ben Askren, man. I would have taken the fight too.
He's putting up with all this. I mean, it's not much that he has to put up with because I think it's entertaining him.
Oh, I think it's given him a chance to show how much of a troll Ben can be.
Yeah.
If you guys, again,
didn't even try to.
If you haven't seen this, they have been going back and forth on the internet. I'm pretty sure Jake Paul, actually messaged Ben's wife on Instagram and slid into her DMs. Ben thought that was hilarious. And so Ben has just been coming after Jake. He bought a heavy bag and plastered Jake Paul's face beat up on this heavy bag.
Yeah, I think someone gave that to him.
Yeah, I think it was given to him by one of his sponsors, if I'm not mistaken. I forget which one, but I believe one of his sponsors custom made.
But he's like, oh, this is awesome.
The other day, he made a video today. He was actually on the plane, and he said he got in trouble from the plane, tried to kick him off last time because he didn't pull his mask up fast enough when he was drinking coffee. So a company called Comfy Masks, I want to say, actually sent him a mask that you can open in the middle. And so he can drink his coffee and then he can close it. But a picture on the front is Jake Paul getting his butt beat by Ben Askren, superimposed on the front of it. So it's actually pretty hilarious. But Ben also, really Jake's just been making insults. He hasn't really been doing anything funny. Ben's been making full-on content with this. He made a parody Rocky training video with him and his wife.
He's doing a whole vlog.
Yeah, he's doing a whole vlog camp with this. So it's actually really funny, but it's not that Ben's just making a joke out of this. He's actually taking this very seriously.
I think so. Too. Hey, he's been training boxing for at least
3 months
training
now.
with Freddie Roach. And
Yeah, not just Freddie Roach. Legendary boxing coach Freddie Roach. Freddie Roach has coached Manny Pacquiao, Mike Tyson, Oscar De La Hoya. What better coach could you bring in? Now, he was only with him, I think, for about a week or two.
Yeah, it's funny because Dana White hooked him up. And you always thought...
Dana didn't like Ben.
Someone asked him about it. And
they've had some animosities.
Yeah, he still doesn't know what him and Dana White's relationship is, but...
He said
I know that Dana White's rooting for him, and so are a lot of MMA fans because they don't want to see him lose to someone like Jake Paul.
Yeah.
They
don't want to see him lose to a punk kid.
I respect Jake Paul, man. I think he's... I don't know what... Because the one thing that intrigues me is the outcome, too. What if Jake Paul wins? Then what's next for him? Is he going to fight KSI? I would love to see that fight.
How do you... But no, hold on. But how do you... Let's just say, hypothetically, Jake wins.
Then
how do you go from fighting an actual fighter to then back down to fighting a non-fighter?
Well, just that's going to be... Well, because KSI beat Logan. And so...
Yeah, but I think Jake Paul is a better boxer than Logan.
And,
so why go face off against somebody who...
Well, if he wins, then, Ben Askren wasn't a boxer. And KSI's probably a better boxer than Ben Askren.
Yeah, but I think he still gets the credentials of him being a real fighter.
A real fighter, for sure. But if he wins, then, yeah, you look at KSI, Dylan Danis.
I was going to say, do you get the Danis fight after that?
Dylan Danis just seems like he doesn't fucking deserve it. Fuck that guy. I don't know.
I don't like Dylan Danis.
He's really rubbed me the wrong way. And I don't think he's popping enough. He hasn't done anything. He's 2-0 in Bellator.
I don't think anybody would care about that fight.
And, yeah, Ben doesn't like him. And
Ben definitely does not like Dylan Danis.
Yeah, he's 2-0 in Bellator, and he's fought, just not very good fighters.
Ben offered to grapple Dylan multiple times. He's like, "Yo, let's have a submission contest. I guarantee I win." Dylan would never step up to the plate.
So or I would like to see Jake fight his brother, which would be awesome.
That would be awesome. That would actually be. I think that fight right there would draw probably the biggest purse yet. I think so because of YouTube boxing because not total, but well the hell the YouTube purse boxing has been some of the top boxing purses already.
It's big. It's a big thing. It's going to be a big thing.
Yeah. Well, and it's cool. A lot of people say a lot of things about this.
That TikToker and YouTube.
Yeah.
I thought it was a joke.
I thought it was a joke too.
But it's pretty serious.
Probably still don't care for it, but I probably care about as much of the TikTok versus YouTube boxing that I do about bare knuckle boxing, and I care about bare knuckle boxing a little bit more.
That's true.
You know what I mean? But I still don't watch it that much.
If you're oh, that's on tonight, I might watch it.
I might have a couple beers and flip through it.
Yeah. So, it's just funny because these guys with really large followings are wanting to step into the ring. And, boxing is...
Well,
I've done... I've done VR boxing.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's
but
awesome.
you don't get punched in the face.
Yeah, you don't actually get hit. And I think that's
Good workout too. Really
I think
good
that's the
workout.
biggest thing for me in this is we have yet to see Jake Paul get hit.
Yeah.
Think about it. Nate Robinson looked like he had never been in a fight ever.
The 2 fights without headgear, Jake Paul did not break a sweat.
Didn't break a sweat.
And
He knocked him out, what, third round? Second round?
if you think he's going to have to beat Ben Askren by first or second round knockout. I mean, boxing
And that's
rounds
what
are
I think.
short.
We haven't seen him go long into fights, and there's a big difference between being able to train and go in rounds where you know that the guy you're training with, you know who that is, and then there's an actual in-game adrenaline pumping, energy exerting fight.
yeah.
Now against a guy who has stepped in the ring with absolute murderers and killers.
He's not very nervous.
No, but, well, I think Jake is a little nervous.
I think Jake's
I don't think
nervous.
Ben's nervous at all. I think you could tell. So that's what I wanted to talk about was in the press conference. The funniest thing to me is Ben was like talking crap, and Jake was trying so hard to act like a tough guy. He was like, "This isn't wrestling. This is boxing. You pussy bitch."
Oh yeah.
And I was like, Jake, you sound like a jackass, bro.
That
like
was
Ben's
so
like,
funny.
okay.
I know Ben would sit there. And
He
just
didn't even
stare
flinch.
At him.
He's like, I'm sitting here with my legs crossed and my flip flops just like this.
His thongs.
Hey, oh, you're talking crap. And then Jake would try to be like, so that he like Ben would make a joke. He'd be like, what, do you pay your groupies that you came into the hotel lobby with the other day? Do you
started chanting?
Yeah, he's like, do you pay them off of like followers or just like shitty secondhand likes on like? And he was like,
Good.
haha, that was funny. Why don't you say your joke again so everybody can laugh? That was so funny. But he kept doing that shtick of like, I'm not gonna laugh at your jokes, which you don't have to laugh at the jokes, but like.
Oh,
It was just so like he looked like a middle school dick.
I was
you know what I mean?
I mean, I watched the whole thing. I watched it live, the press conference, and the whole thing was just.
It was awkward.
It was entertaining, but it was just very, very awkward and cringe. And then and then you see the clips that come out afterwards, and you're like, what did people take away from this? And in one, it was that Ben Askren shoved him. And
yeah, not only
that
did
was
he,
the biggest thing.
I thought that was hilarious. So Ben
That's the biggest
Askren
thing.
in the face-off, they looked at each other. They were kind of talking shit, and then Jake kind of looks away, talking shit, and then he looks back at him, and Ben's just like, "All right," and face palms Jake and then he walks away, and Jake like takes it, tries to back up, and then like hits him with this like super girly right hand ass slap. Just like
Slapped him in like the stomach, dude.
and Ben didn't even flinch, and then he pushed him, and Ben again didn't flinch, started laughing. He was like, "Ha!" And then Jake was like, "Oh yeah, come back, fight me, pussy." And he was like, "Again, we're doing this next week. What are you actually doing? Like what? Like
weird.
I think Ben
That was
obviously
smart on Ben's part.
It was very smart. It was a great move because Ben doesn't usually do stuff like that.
Yeah,
It was a
no, he
great
doesn't.
move. It was like I'm gonna get, and I think what got under Jake Paul's skin that whole conference was that he said, "Yeah, I love to fight Logan's little brother. How does it feel fighting in Logan's shadow? How does it feel? Did Logan kick your ass when you were a kid all the time?
Did you get beat up when you were younger?
Yeah. Did he just beat you up and rub your face in the carpet all the time? And you could tell by his body language, Jake was trying to like not be fidgety, but he would do these little body motions. And if you're good at reading body language, to me, the more I watch that, Ben is just calm, cool, and collected, and then Jake was just getting irritated by Ben not getting irritated and then saying that. I think he truly does live in his brother's shadow. And so I think that when Ben was mentioning this, I think Jake was like, "You son of a bitch, blah, blah, blah." But it was just funny to actually see Ben with like not even really great comebacks shake Jake like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Logan, I kind of like Logan.
Well, have you seen? So Ben's been on Logan's podcast now.
It was a good show.
2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And
No,
they've been great.
It was once.
He's been on it twice, I believe.
Of Logan Paul's?
Of Logan Paul's. Are
I
you
don't
sure?
think so. Yeah, no, that was the first time.
He was on
They've
it like
met.
3 weeks ago, and then he was just on it this past week, was he not?
No, they just released the episode.
Oh, they
He
teased
was
it and then
on, yeah.
and then released the whole. Oh, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was another episode. I was like, dang, you weren't on there twice.
No, they just
So they've both been releasing little teasers of their time then hanging out. But at the end, like, it was funny, you know, Logan did a good job of like interviewing him, teasing him about fighting his brother, but also like selling the fight a little bit. And then he straight up asked Jake, he's like, or Ben, he's like, why do you think you're gonna win? And he's like, I just don't think your brother is a good boxer. He's like, there's levels, and there is. Anybody who knows there's levels to this shit. There's a difference between being a good boxer and a great boxer. And then there's a difference between boxing somebody who has never thrown a punch in their life and fighting a guy who stepped in the cage with killers, who trained his entire life, maybe not necessarily in the highest grade of striking. But what Ben did was he would always craft his striking in order to open up lanes for him to shoot and to wrestle. Now, what you do with that is you almost get people off the rhythm, because Jake's going in here and he's training against boxers, right? But he's not fighting a boxer. He's fighting somebody who's going to be very awkward, very unorthodox. He's going to grab him, pull him, and for people who don't know, Ben has one of the strongest grips and one of the greatest wrestlers that ever stepped in the octagon. If he gets a hold of Jake, he's going to wear him down, especially, and I think this is what's going to happen. Jake's going to gas himself the first 3 rounds trying to knock Ben out. All Ben's got to do is do a little head movement, stay off center, get caught.
I think he's definitely going to hit Ben with some good shots. It's just a matter of if Ben,
are they gonna hurt him?
If Ben stays there, if Ben can take a beating, and then, because I mean, God, the first couple of rounds you're hoping to see, or not hoping to see, you're expecting to see Jake Paul come out, pretty good. Come out and start winning the first couple rounds. And then after probably the first 2, because he's not a professional athlete, we don't know his cardio level. It's probably better than average, but it's probably not great.
I mean, it's better than your average TV sitting at home on your couch watching.
Yeah, but it's after that 3rd round, probably, even if the rounds are like 2 minutes each, and this is an 8-round fight, the 3rd round is really where it could get competitive.
Yeah.
And the only way you look at it is that Jake Paul kind of withers away slowly as the fight goes on. And what reason do you have, not to believe that? Because we haven't
seen him past 2 or 3 rounds.
So that's what's weird, because Ben Askren's the underdog. Ben Askren is the betting underdog still.
Now, granted, the gap did close. The original, I forget, he was originally like plus 190.
He's plus 140.
Now he's plus one. He's now plus 115, but I think that's changed. I think he's plus 135.
It's weird to think, because what are they?
Or 140. He might be plus 140. Jake's.
Well, do you expect it? Do you expect it to go to a decision?
I don't expect Ben to knock him out. He keeps saying, I'm going to TKO him in the 7th round. Unless Jake is just, because here's the thing, Ben's career, he's really good at just making contact. He doesn't knock anybody out. But if you watch a lot of his fights from one championships and from Bellator, he's really crafty at ducking punches.
Yeah, and he's never really finished anybody.
He's only finished, I believe, 2 people. Yeah. Aoki over in the one championships, who was the former champion. He finished him due. He finished him due to strikes, but
oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
There you go, Ben.
Yeah, he's finished guys on the ground due to strikes. But if you actually watch his fight catalog, he does a very good job of ducking punches and setting up punches to then obviously do the takedowns, but he's very crafty at moving his head, which you have to have in boxing. He's also one of the least hit fighters in MMA history.
I mean, yeah, he's only been finished once, twice.
Well, he was finished twice, once by TKO, obviously, or knockout by Jorge Masvidal, and then he did get a submission against him from Damian Maia. But if you watch that Damian Maia fight, he beat Damian Maia up with his hands.
Yeah, I mean,
he bloodied Damian Maia, and you know what he does? He has this crafty little, I think what he does
is lots of highlights of his bad striking from that too.
Yeah, well, yeah, but it's unorthodox striking. It's just unorthodox.
Yeah.
It's not great. It's not going to knock you out. He's not going to knock you out with one punch.
So that's what's weird, too, is that everyone expects it to go to a decision.
which I see
But
probably
that
happening.
makes you.
Well, I don't know.
What if everyone thinks it's going to a decision?
No, I don't think so.
Then what's going to happen? Maybe it doesn't. But I feel like everyone is expecting a decision.
I think all the Jake Paul fans think it's going to be a knockout. I think a lot of the MMA community thinks, hey, just don't get knocked out and win. You'll win.
So no way in hell he loses a decision to Jake Paul.
I don't think so.
I mean, there is a way, but I don't think so.
I don't think it's going to happen. I think he either wears him down so much that he could sneak a knockout in. I doubt it. Or I think it goes to decision and Ben wins.
Yeah, I could see Jake knocking Ben Askren out, and I could see Ben Askren knocking Jake Paul out. I don't really. I do see the decision, but.
So you think it's going to be a knockout regardless?
I kind of do.
Probably. More the odds favor a knockout for you.
I kind of do because the reason is that Jake Paul, we might be surprised by his boxing ability, and and Ben Askren is just really not a boxer, because he's not.
Yeah.
And Jake Paul is somewhat of a boxer. He's good enough to beat Ben Askren at this particular point.
That's what we don't know.
And then another thing I'm expecting is that Jake Paul is going to quit. He's
that's what I thought. I thought, okay, because Ben has this really sneaky...
What's his resolve like?
Ben has a very sneaky uppercut. Like, that's what he was blooding Damian Maia up with, was he's got this thing where he'll reach out and kind of like blind you with his front hand, and then when he pulls it back, he just cracks you with the uppercut. So I think in the 7th round, if he's got Jake just dog-tired and catches him once... And because granted, they're
you
also...
would hate... I don't see... You'd love to see it, but you'd hate to see it.
But I don't see... No, I would love to see it. I fucking hate Jake Paul. I just think he's a douche, man. Like watching their content, I like Logan better than Jake.
Well, he'll be fine either way. So
but here's the deal.
Whatever happens,
People think,
they'll both be...
Yeah, either way, their careers... Nothing's going to happen to their careers. Jake's just going to show that he's a shit boxer. A little
bit of trauma,
Yeah. Here's the thing, though, is... People think Ben's going to get knocked out, but they're fighting with boxing gloves. 10-ounce gloves, am I correct? Or even more? What's their average boxing glove?
Yeah, I think they're around 12 ounces. Is what.
Yeah, if it's 12,
10 ounces is. I mean, the UFC gloves are 4, so pretty positive on that. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so it's 10, 12. I think they're fighting with 12-ounce gloves.
It's
or
probably
10 ounce.
It's probably got to be 10.
I think it is 10. Ben's been used to fighting with what, 4-ounce gloves or 6-ounce? 4 for the UFC, and he took Robbie Lawler's hand through his face like 7 times and didn't get knocked out. I don't see after getting slammed on his head. So I just don't see, huh?
It was
after getting slammed on his head. So I just don't see the knockout on Ben's part because he's got a chin. He's taken multiple shots before. So now with a bigger glove, I don't see it. I don't see the knockout coming from Jake Paul's. I think he could beat him on a decision if he's not dog tired.
Ben?
No, Jake. I just don't see Jake knocking out Ben.
Well, you can see Jake winning by decision?
I can see Jake winning by decision if he just comes in and actually decides
in the first couple rounds and starts.
Yeah, like if he comes out and does a couple really good ones and then Ben ties him up but doesn't get a lot of action in, I could see him kind of eking out a decision win. But I think Ben is always, one, his cardio is unmatched. There's no, he's not going to get beaten on cardio. 2, I think if he just peppers Jake, I mean, contact, it's not about damage, it's about contact. How many times can I just bink, 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 hit you? And if I tie you up and hit you, and tie you up and hit you, and hold on you, and grab you, and squeeze you, and pull you, and I think, you're controlling the fight. So I think this is just, either way...
I'm saying he's got to do that, but
he has to.
He might not even have to.
Watch Ben just come out and wham, knock him out. That was not going to happen, but...
Isn't it crazy how excited I am for this fight? And
well, that's so funny. At first, I mean, I'm just a big Ben Askren fan. We already know this, but at first, I think people were like, yeah, this fight's kind of a joke. I'm not even going to watch it. Now, the more that it's been entertaining to watch the lead up, to see how much Ben has put into training... I'm fucking ecstatic for the fight. And just that fight. Like the card, I don't give a damn about the card except for Frank Mir, our boy Frank Mir, CBD Shaman, repping America. What's up? But
wait.
CBD, baby. CBD American Shaman.
That's right. Frank Mir.
For the plug. Shameless plug.
Because we're a Kansas City company, you know?
Kansas City company.
Kansas City company, Kansas City podcast, and a ambassador of a Kansas City company, Frank Mir, is he's kind of a psycho, you know?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
And after that fight, who knows? Maybe
What are you doing?
Maybe we'll try to get Frank Mir on the show for everybody. Who knows? I
I'd
don't
love to, yeah.
know.
I'd love to.
Hint, hint, foreshadowing.
I'd love to talk to Frankie. Fuck. Yeah, I mean, he's kind of crazy. Not crazy for taking this fight, but
I think it's interesting that we've got two non-boxers
he's
going
never
into a
boxed
boxing match.
either.
I know.
And he was supposed to fight Antonio Tarver, who I don't know what happened to him, but now he's fighting like Steve Cunningham, and that guy looks like he's in phenomenal shape for like a 50-year-old. Frank Mir obviously is because he takes CBD shaman,
Of course.
but he's not a boxer, and he's taking a tougher fight than what was originally
I mean,
announced.
Cunningham was also an IBF cruiserweight title holder
yeah,
for
you
about
see
4 years. So
What I would do if I was a 50-year-old, you know, and I had a successful career and I'm, you know, have a little bit of notoriety, I'm taking this fight, and then probably about a couple days before, I'm pulling out. You know, so I get the build up.
you get all the promotion side of it.
If I've never been in like a boxing match in my life, and I'm just gonna go fight a guy who's done it for a career professionally, has belts in it, yeah, I'm gonna pull out like a couple days before, take the promotion, you know, maybe go watch the event.
Go to the event that you just pulled out of. What a jackass.
I don't know what Frank's doing. I think he should pull out.
Why? I want to see Frank get in there and fight somebody.
I don't want to see him lose, man.
Yeah, Frank can handle it. He's a grown-ass man.
He's a grown man, and his daughter's a phenomenal fighter. And his son,
I thought you were going somewhere else with that. I was like, no, we can't say that.
No, his daughter's is like 2-0. She's like 18 and 17 professional, 2-0 professional. And his son, Cage, is like 16 years old, and he's like a gargantuan. It's crazy.
But yeah, so overall, I think that this is going to be a great fight. Obviously, April 17th, this Saturday, that's what I'm going to be watching, as well as watching UFC Vegas 24.
Do a little bit of double duty.
I'm going to have probably 2 TVs set up.
You know, when
I can watch them both.
When
obviously,
Justin Bieber comes on,
slamming some brews.
I get my peaches out in Georgia.
I get my peaches out in Georgia. Ooh, that's it. Probably JB. Probably gonna be blaming some JB during like the half times.
I'll be bumping it, and I'll probably turn down the UFC commentary. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna turn down the UFC commentary.
I don't need to listen to the UFC guys talk. I want to listen to what these Triller guys are about. Maybe, and you know what? Maybe I'm gonna learn a little something about some of these guys on Triller. Probably not that much, but
I mean, there's a couple legitimate boxers on there. Are you looking at the card right now?
I am looking at the card. There's only 4 fights.
What's the first one?
First one is Joe Fournier versus Raycon.
Yeah, that dude's like a singer. And they met in a bar, and he was talking to his girl, the boxer was, and he wanted to fight him, and they made it happen. And so that Raycon dude, look at his Instagram. He's got like 5 million followers, I think, and he's fighting a guy that's 8-0 professionally.
He's
boxing.
he's a Latin reggae singer.
So he's like, I'm going to fuck this dude up. You know, he talked to my girl or whatever in the club, and this guy happens to be an 8-0 boxer. That's the first fight of the night, so that's pretty funny, too.
Well, that'll be interesting. Yeah, I don't know Raycon. Never heard of him before, but, you know, you're just learning a bunch of things this night. I
think the second fight is like 2 legitimate boxers.
It's Joe Fournier and then Raycon. Then it was Steve Cunningham versus Frank Mir is the second fight. Then it's Regis Prograis.
That's legit.
First, Ivan Redcock. I can't even say this. I don't know boxers, man. I don't know boxers. We're UFC guys. We're MMA world. I am not a boxing guy. Never have been. No. Would love to start getting into it, but we might have missed the golden years of boxing. But no, then it's Jake Paul versus Askren. So it's only a 4 fight night.
Frank can't even get the co-main.
Right? That's kind of, but I mean, you know, you probably want to put on a good, because here's
Regis Prograis.
The reason I think you put the 2 really good boxers right before, or
why would you do that?
Well, here's why. Because and this is the thing that I think that the good part of this YouTube boxing sensation is you're actually getting a group of, let's be honest, all these YouTube guys that watch all these, you know, watch all these Jake Paul videos and whatnot, probably a bunch of nerds. But what are you doing to a whole new generation of people? You're getting them interested in boxing. Now, is it good boxing? No.
I was going to say.
But it's boxing. Yeah. It's a sport. You're getting them interested in a sport of boxing, which, in my opinion, has been on the downslide for quite a while, and this is most people's opinion. So I think that part is a plus.
It's fantastic for the sport of boxing.
I mean,
It's amazing.
we got to watch Roy Jones Jr. and Mike Tyson lean on each other for about 8 rounds.
Yeah.
And Mike Tyson actually looked like he was trying to knock Roy out.
I was going to go as far as to say it's carrying boxing, these events.
Yeah, I would say.
I don't think I would because there's been an upturn, and Stephen St. John would fight me for saying that, even though he's retired. But I think there is a changing of the guard in boxing. The best guys are starting to fight the best guys.
But
before, past couple years, it has been, let me pad my record.
Yeah,
and it's just
so
what they've watered down.
What they've done, and who I forget, maybe Chael Sonnen touched on this a little bit.
Chael Sonnen,
he said, what boxing basically did was they started caring about not losing way too much. They started padding the records, trying to go because everybody was trying to follow the Floyd Mayweather model of 50-0. Everybody's got to be undefeated. If you have one loss, how many losses did Muhammad Ali have?
I don't know. I mean, I should, but
I don't know how many officially has. But I wasn't alive, Blake.
I wasn't alive. I was like 4.
He lost 5 fights. That's 5, but he's one of the greatest boxers of all time. If we have a fighter that has 5 losses in today's world, they're going to be like, oh, he's garbage.
Frank Mir is...
Which is bad. It's bad because it doesn't allow for people to come back and have redemption. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Frank Mir's 19-13, and he's a 2-time UFC heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
So he's a legend. And he's got 13 losses.
Exactly.
It's not a bad thing.
Ben's one of the greatest to ever do it in the cage, and he's 19-2.
It's like, yeah, I don't like that fact of boxing is you're 51-2.
And you're just
like,
and you're trash.
Why?
You're trash. Like, oh, you're trash.
Why are you doing this?
What? No.
This is annoying. Like,
Yeah.
oh, man.
You got to be okay with losing, and I think boxing needs to get back to that. But they're bridging a gap of new.
And the judging, too. Like,
boxing
so
is
many
always
things.
obviously. Sorry for you boxing fans that are all pure and doesn't want to hear this. It's been fucking rigged for a long ass time.
Like the Lomachenko, Teofimo Lopez. Yeah, Teofimo won, but Lomachenko was like, yeah, I think I won. You're like, what are you talking about, dude? And then I like to look at the Triple G fight in Canelo.
I watched
Triple G absolutely beat him twice, I think, or he beat him at least once, and one of them was a tie, and one of them went to Canelo. I don't know how that's possible.
I rewatched.
So
I sat down and rewatched the entire Oscar De La Hoya versus Floyd Mayweather fight the other day. And honestly, at the end of it, I think Oscar De La Hoya won.
Well,
I mean, I think he won, but they gave it to Floyd.
Well, thank God that wasn't what the judges thought. That's one of that I'm okay that they rigged. Because I don't really.
You're like, well, we got Floyd Mayweather to be undefeated though. So.
And in that press conference, did you see Snoop Dogg come out and Oscar De La Hoya is like, July 10th, I'm back. And
I am back.
Drops the microphone. And you're like, what the hell was that? You're like, Snoop Dogg, what are you doing, man?
Snoop, what are you?
And then the moderator was, I don't know. That whole thing was a mess, but it was funny.
But yeah, so I do like what this is doing for the world of boxing.
Me too.
I think it's good because I'll tell you what, it's got me interested in it.
Now,
what really got me interested into it was I grew up when Floyd was still getting there when he faced Manny Pacquiao. And that was I remember that was the big fight. I think I was in
it was huge.
I think I was like a senior in high school, I want to say.
Yeah.
I didn't watch any of the other boxing matches, but I remember that match. And I was like, oh, everybody was trying to watch that. Then the next boxing fight I watched was years later, probably 3 years later, Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather Jr. So they both been Floyd Mayweather fights. Then I actually gave a damn about Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, okay, starting to like, if I can get some traction to this boxing thing, because me personally, I'm a fight fan in general. We love fighting. So I'll go out there and watch some good fights. So I'm excited to see, I think Tyson's fighting Anthony Joshua, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I want to watch that fight.
I'd rather see them run it back. I mean, Joshua's pretty unexperienced compared to Tyson Fury. And he lost to Andy Ruiz.
Yeah.
So it's like Joshua doesn't deserve this fight everybody's getting it, and that's kind of the theme of boxing. But
Do they run the
That's a good
Deontay
one.
Wilder Tyson Fury fight back for the trifecta?
that's what they should have done. But yeah, I mean, Joshua, and then it should have been Joshua and Wilder should have fought instead of, I think, Fury and Wilder the second time.
No, I like
But
that.
it was a great fight. Yeah,
It was a
good.
great fight.
It was a good fight.
Josh
even
even has a
though-
little conspiracy theory behind that fight.
It's not a conspiracy.
Yeah, I know.
He's a cheater. You know.
I mean, that's what you say.
Tyson Fury is he cheats. I don't know the logistics of your glove and stuff, but whatever he's doing doesn't look right, and it doesn't look fair.
You don't think there should be
So-
that much flop?
No,
In the glove?
not really. When you're punching a dude in the face, especially when you weigh like 230.
No, he's
Fucking
like, he's like
pounds.
280 pounds.
Yeah,
He's 7 foot tall.
I'll watch that. I'm more interested in, I like Terrence Bud Crawford. I like Teofimo Lopez. I like Triple G,
Well,
even
Ryan
though he's on his
Garcia's out
way
here,
out.
but-
I like Ryan Garcia
I
too.
think he's retiring, isn't he?
No, he's got a fight coming up.
No, I'm saying he is retiring though pretty soon, isn't he?
It's
Didn't he say he only wants to fight till he's 26?
then he wants,
25?
and then he wants to come to MMA. That's what he said.
Really?
He wants to be. There's been MMA people going to boxing.
Yeah.
He wants to be the first boxer
To go to the
cross over to
MMA.
MMA. So he's
I
gonna
will tell you
he
what.
he said he's going to retire at 26, and then he's going to go to MMA.
That you know what? If he does that, I will applaud the shit out of that.
and
man.
he had a fight announcement today.
I think Connor should stop doing MMA after a while and just do
maybe.
boxing, dude.
I
Because
thought
people
about
were
that.
like, oh yeah, no, Floyd Mayweather kicked his ass, and I was like, dude, Connor actually looked like he can box out there.
Yeah, if Jake Paul, we forgot to mention that. If Jake Paul can really dominate Ben Askren, I mean, not dominate, but end him in the first couple rounds,
Then that
The
Connor
McGregor's-
fight actually becomes a little bit more enticing.
really, it's a real possibility.
Yeah, which maybe that's what they're waiting for. Also, speaking of, not that this was the topic but because we're talking about it, Connor, Dustin Poirier off? Is that fight officially off now?
It's on.
Connor said it's off.
It's on.
I know it's on, but like Connor said it's off after they had a little skirmish about some money. That
No, but he said it's back on.
he did.
Because he wants to hurt him.
He does want to hurt him.
So, well, that's what he said. He said, "I want to hurt him. It's back on." That's gonna be the thumbnail of the thing, because I took a picture today
What?
and it was
No, not of
Correct,
this. We just talked for 40 minutes about Ben Askren, Jake Paul. And you want to put the thumbnail of nah?
Look at this guy, man. He's got new teeth.
What a nerd.
He's got new teeth, and he's. I don't. Look at this picture. Who's this lady?
Whose man is that?
Who? This is like a 7-foot tall man taking this picture, just looking down on McGregor. Is this? If that's his wife, man.
Either
I
way,
know, but
I'm freaking
that's
excited
fine,
for
but-
Saturday. We got 2 big events. Triller, April 17th. Ben Askren versus Jake Paul. Also, April 17th. What is the official starting time for the fights?
for the Triller
No.
catastrophe.
Well, yeah, when's Triller start? Triller actually officially starts at... I literally just had it.
Tell me that, and I'll tell you something. I'll give you something.
Well, UFC 24... No, whoops. I typed in AUFC. Totally different thing. UFC event 20...
I'm sure it starts at like 5.
Wow, this is what we call not being prepared, folks.
Hey, the Royals beat the Angels, so
Yes, they did just now.
fantastic. I mean,
It starts at 9. Main card starts at 9. Prelims start at 6. So we got a little bit of a later start time
Central
than
time,
usual.
yeah.
Yes, obviously.
And then so it's gonna run in coincidence with probably the Jake Paul.
Yeah.
So
Do you know did you see what time that starts?
Well, I mean, it's gonna be late at night. I mean, it's 4 fights. It's gonna start.
As I say, it probably
later,
won't even
so-
start till 8,
Yeah.
maybe 7, but 8 p.m. probably Central Time. So,
I'm all in all the time.
got a whole bunch of fights. It's going to be interesting. We will be back next week. We're not going to be taking any more weeks off. Hopefully, we're going to have action-packed April. I'm your man, Blake Russell Sneeders. This is my man, BT Byers over here. We are the B-Cup Boys, and we are back in action. Appreciate you guys joining the show. Josh, any last words?
No,
No?
not tonight.
Peace, fuckers.